So,
Sounds good.
AirPods Pro Gen 3. What do you think?
I have had them in my ears for maybe an hour.
Oh, you just
Um,
you just got them, so you're wearing them now.
I'm wearing them right now, but you can't tell, right? That's the
Do they
interesting
look the
thing.
same?
They look the same. I mean, you can definitely tell if you have the two side by side, and the
Right.
feel in the ear is different. It sits a little further outside the ear canal. Um, but I think what is notable is that Apple says it's twice as effective at canceling noise,
And do you feel
and
that?
it's not. It's just objectively not. I've done the
Have
tests
you gone
already.
outside though? Like, that's a true test, right? Be in traffic,
Yeah,
on an
yeah.
airplane, at a coffee shop.
I mean, we simulated it in the demo, and the second I left the demo, I took them out of the box and I did my tests on a subway, on an over, on a street. Like,
Oh, okay. So you've had them for a little while and you were able to test it. Okay.
I'm not saying they're substantially better than the AirPods Pro 2. I'm not dismissing that. What I think is going to be the best part of this is that the passive isolation is considerably better than
Okay.
the previous generation. So
Because of those foam infused silicon
yes, and
tips.
I think the fit itself is better for most people. So anecdotally, if you read the reviews from Monday, from yesterday as we're recording this, most people have said that the tips fit better in general, and people that had issues like Marquez Brownlee said in his review that he is able to wear these with no problems, whereas the previous versions, regardless of tip size, he couldn't keep them in his ears. And I've talked to a bunch of people who have had the same experience already. So I think obviously active noise cancellation and the microphone quality, as you know, is absolutely essential. But passive isolation can get you a lot of the way there.
Yeah.
And ear tips in general just haven't done a good job. They can't do a good job.
I mean, they're not
Uh,
IAMs, right? And that's the ultimate, right? If you get
exactly.
custom molds for your IAMs, that's half the battle, or more than half the battle most of the time.
Ask me how much I spent on Etymotics E4Is like 22 years ago or something
I'm there
with
with you.
custom
I got
molds.
the ER4Ss actually.
Yeah, like
Those are
we
mine. I've had them since I wouldn't say 90, 95, 96. I've got the OGs
yeah,
with the
those
thicker
are
cables that are a little more annoying. And yeah, I've got custom ear molds and they're still kicking. They're amazing.
so I think Apple understood the concept, right? It understood the problem, and they're not going to get a ton of additional ANC through the H2 chip. It's the same, essentially the same processor. So they just did the next best thing is they tweaked the design, made the tips more passively isolating, and subtle tweaks to and improvements to the microphone obviously get you a significant way there. So far so good. I mean, what they said about bass response is absolutely true. That passive isolation gives you just a lower sub bass, if you can
Mhm.
call earbuds,
So they didn't
having sub
boost the
bass.
bass. It's just you're getting more natural sub bass because you get better isolation, right? Because that's the
Correct.
thing I was really afraid of. Because everybody's going boomy bass at the bottom, like boomy, not good bass. Like I want the bass to be deep and there, but not booming, right? And
Yeah.
that's the challenge. And that's why I always have to EQ everything. Anyway,
So from my perspective, these are a good upgrade, right? They're same price, and it's not like you have an AirPods Pro 2 that was released in 2024 that you're thinking about upgrading from, right? This is a 3-year-old product. It hasn't really seen much iteration. It's had some feature updates through iOS, but nothing significant from a hardware perspective. I think a lot
right.
of people like me bought the USB-C version when they were released 2 years ago, but those were what, like, very, very minor changes.
Yeah. No, I hear there were some new features made possible by the new chip at the time or something. But I'm surprised about what you're saying about the chip being the same. I really thought that in addition to the passive insulation, they had changed their algorithm and improved stuff. Because that's what OnePlus has done with its earbuds, like the latest, the Buds 4. And you really notice it. Like the tips aren't any better. They're just regular silicone. But wow, the active ANC on those is like, holy crap. Like it's still not headphone level in any way, but it's significantly better than previous generation. So I figured Apple, with their might and their software and their, engineering experience should be able to pull something off here.
I'm not surprised the H2 wasn't updated. I think that there's probably very little that they can do at this point to update that chip other than make it more efficient.
Yeah.
They've got probably more headroom that they can get out of it, and Apple never updates a chip. I think in 3 years we'll get an H3,
Yeah,
right?
right. Exactly. So are you happy with the sound quality out of the box? Did you have to do much tuning? You and I don't necessarily have the same, resulting EQ curve on our tuning. That's very personal. But I think that you and I are always kind of reluctant audiophiles, right? Like I don't want to spend money and be totally crazy about my audio, but at the same time, I feel like I have certain standards that I want to meet. And in this world, I feel like a lot of that is going away. People really like this boomy bass. People are so used to compressed audio, they don't have any idea what non-compressed audio is supposed to sound like anymore. I think that's also why there's a revival of physical formats, because not only do you have that tangibility in the ownership and the process, the ritual of listening to maybe an entire album, which by the way, when I stream music, I listen to entire albums. I never listen to playlists. I'm sorry. Very rarely. If I do, it's an auto-generated. I need to crank for 5 hours and I need something to sustain my crank level, of writing or whatever. And I can't decide on a few albums to queue up. So I just like get Google to do this thing on YouTube Music. But how is that?
I haven't
Audio.
messed with the EQ, and you know that the iPhone's EQ is bad. I think it's
Right.
fair to say.
I think
there's
that
no
the AirPods Max were pretty good out of the box. That's about the only experience that I've had where I was like, I could live with this.
Yeah, it's not bad out of the box. I mean, I feel like it's a fairly neutral curve, and you don't have any coloring that I can tell immediately. I think Apple has always tended to go fairly flat. As I said, I don't think the tuning has changed here.
Okay.
I think what people are hearing is just an
the
increase
result of
in
better
passive
insulation.
isolation.
Yeah, got it.
And that's the way to go, right? Because you can EQ these if you want to, not on iOS, but elsewhere. And I'm gonna mess around with. I think it's
iOS doesn't have EQ for in the settings. You can't do basic bass treble at least, or some. There's nothing. You just have to accept what Apple tells you. Oof.
No, I think you can. There is EQ, but there's no. It's not a 10. It's not a banded EQ. It's just
that's unfortunate.
Bass boost or treble.
Yeah, I mean that
boost.
goes with Apple. They wouldn't want you to play with that stuff anyway. They know better.
Yeah. So
all right.
This is a good upgrade. I mean, it's for I think a lot of AirPods Pro 2 users will definitely buy these.
But battery life's better too, right? Like it's just better across the board. You're getting a bit more bass, like deep bass, but not boomy bass. You're getting better in isolation. You're getting better battery life. And is the case improved in any ways? Or like, you remember how they added the thing to find the case or whatever?
Yeah. So the UWB chip is more sensitive, so you can get more accurate Find My directions. There's the heart rate sensor as well, which we demoed. It's basically there just as an addition to the Apple Watch if you're wearing it. They said that if you at the time of a workout, starting a workout, it will determine based on the placement of your Apple Watch or the placement of your earbuds which has the better, tighter seal and signal. It will use that for 5 minutes and then reevaluate. So, for example, if you're doing a run and your watch moves and gets and loses its effectiveness, it will transfer to the earbuds.
Makes sense. And I mean, Samsung does similar things between the Ring and the watch. I'm wearing the Watch Ultra actually today.
I think a lot of people will be interested in the fact that if they like to wear watches, but they also like to work out, or if they have a Garmin and they own an iPhone, getting a second heartbeat reading as redundancy or something like that could be useful.
100%.
Or just if you don't wear a watch at all.
Yeah. No, I think this is great. I'm actually surprised that they had to add a sensor for that because, you know, microphonics, right? You know how you can hear your own heartbeat in your head, in your earbuds when you have them inserted, right? Usually a little bit. Like, there's a pressure differential inside your ear if you have a good seal that should let them monitor your heart rate. But I think they also need heart rate variability and a bunch of other stuff. And for that, you need an optical sensor. So I bet you that's why they have an optical sensor.
Yeah, I doubt microphonics is sensitive enough for them.
But I always thought like you could develop an algorithm with existing earbuds that I can just detect the fact that you have a pressure change, you know, every time you have a heartbeat. Boom, boom. If you have a good seal. The problem with having good seal is I think 99% of people out there don't have a good seal. Even though there's
it could also be that
settings for that.
One tiny company owns the patent for that and Apple doesn't want to license that patent.
That's true. And it doesn't cost them very much because they already have the sensor for the watch anyway. So slap it in there.
It's probably Massimo and they're like, nope, we're good.
That big lawsuit. That was so bizarre.